Never complain and never explain. This simple but powerful principle offers wisdom on how to navigate life with grace and resilience. When we encounter challenges or face difficulties, it's easy to fall into the trap of complaining. Complaints often arise from frustration, disappointment, or a sense of injustice. However, complaining rarely brings about positive change. It tends to focus our energy on the negative, reinforcing feelings of helplessness and dissatisfaction. Instead of complaining, we are better served by embracing a mindset of acceptance and action. Life is full of unpredictable events, and while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. Complaining implies a lack of control, whereas taking responsibility for our actions and attitude empowers us. Choosing not to complain is a way of reclaiming power over our experience. Likewise, the idea of never explaining is a call to avoid over-justifying or defending our choices and actions. We often feel the urge to explain ourselves when we believe others don't understand or agree with us. But explanations can often lead to unnecessary conflict or miscommunication. Instead of explaining ourselves to others, we can choose to trust in our decisions and in the clarity of our own intentions. The habit of never complaining and never explaining fosters self-reliance and inner peace. It encourages us to face challenges with a quiet determination, trusting that our actions will speak louder than words. This approach also helps protect our emotional well-being. Complaints and explanations tend to drain energy, leaving us feeling vulnerable or defensive. When we adopt this principle, we reserve our energy for constructive pursuits, ensuring we maintain focus on what matters most. At the heart of this mindset is self-respect. When we stop complaining and stop explaining, we respect ourselves enough to own our decisions without seeking validation from others. There's also the idea of never explaining oneself. Often, we feel the need to justify our actions, choices, or decisions to others, especially when we believe they may misunderstand us or disagree. We find ourselves caught in a cycle of explaining why we did something, why we made a particular choice, or why we are the way we are. But constantly explaining ourselves can diminish our self-confidence, make us question our own decisions, and create unnecessary stress. We forget that we are the best judges of our own lives, and our choices, regardless of others' opinions, are ours to make. Living without the need to explain doesn't mean we become dismissive of others or that we close ourselves off from genuine feedback. It simply means that we no longer feel the need to defend every action we take or every belief we hold. Instead, we trust ourselves, and we respect that others may not always understand us or agree with us, and that's okay. People will always have their own opinions and perspectives, and we cannot control that. What we can control is how we respond to those opinions. We can choose to remain grounded in our own sense of self, knowing that we don't have to explain ourselves to anyone. Our actions speak louder than words. It simply means that we stop investing energy in futile attempts to change others' minds or seek sympathy. Instead, we invest that we stop explaining, we free ourselves from the need for external validation. This mindset also helps build resilience. Life will inevitably throw us curveballs, and how we respond to those challenges often determines how we grow from them. If we choose to complain or over-explain, we become bogged down by the weight of others' perceptions and our own frustrations. But when we choose to move forward with confidence, without complaint and without unnecessary explanation, we are asserting our own agency. We are saying to the world, unquote, I am in charge of my response, and I will move through this with grace. Unquote. It's about understanding that there are some things that are beyond our control, and the way we react to them is what defines us. Instead of getting stuck in a loop of self-justification or frustration, we can channel our energy into constructive action. We learn to accept that not everything requires a response, and not everything needs to be dissected or analyzed to death. Sometimes, it's enough to simply keep moving forward, trusting that the path we are on is the right one for us. In a world that often encourages constant chatter, validation seeking, and attention, embracing the philosophy of never complaining and never explaining can be incredibly liberating. It allows us to cultivate inner peace, confidence, and a sense of self-reliance that is grounded in our own truth. It reminds us that we do not need the approval of others to feel worthy, and that the less we complain and explain, the more we create space for personal growth, authentic connections, and a life lived on our own terms. Ultimately, it's about living authentically, free from the constraints of external expectations and the noise of unnecessary justifications.